Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Lifetime Training Podcast. I can't tell you that I have not been waiting for this episode since we launched it to our members, team members, and everyone that has yet to describe and really experience the magic behind what Lifetime is. And today, I can't thank him enough for taking the time to be on the show, Mr. Bahram Akradi. Thank you so much for being on the show, Bahram.
Thanks, Jason. I'm super excited to do this with you.
Oh, likewise. Well, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. And, I know that you went to school to be an electrical engineer in Colorado at Colorado Springs. So kind of weird how those two things came about. Would you mind sharing, with the group from your mouth finally, how did we get to, Lifetime and where we are today?
All right. Well, quick story again is I came to US 78 to go to school, wanted to become an engineer so I can fly jets and design jets and fly jets. One thing led to another. I was in Colorado Springs. They didn't have, aeronautical or aerospace engineering, so I had to take electrical engineering. I took that, had to work to pay for school. So I worked in restaurants and health clubs, and I did best I could with all of those things. And as I was finishing all of my requirements for the engineering degree, I was also the top salesperson in a small chain of clubs in Colorado Springs. They asked me to go to Minnesota with a great friend of mine named Mark Zabes to start a club out there. It was sort of weird. I thought I have gone to school 16 years to be an engineer, but they made an offer I couldn't refuse. I decided to try it. If I don't like it, I go back to engineering. And I got to Minnesota with Mark. There was nothing. We had to do everything. We had to order books, we had to order paperwork, we had to order phone book. I mean, everything that we need to set up the whole experience for the pre-sale and the club. And it was School of Hard Knocks. He was 23, I was 21. And we're in this city by ourselves and trying to figure everything out. There was the best opportunity to learn ever. And within a year, I had planned not one, but 9 clubs in Twin Cities. I showed the investors what that could be in terms of the company growth. And they sort of fell in love with what I was showing them. But they owed me a bunch of money from promises they had made. So we applied those monies. I became an equal 1/8 owner. I grew that company from a couple million a year to about 20 million bucks in a year.
Wow.
A year in just the next couple of years. We got an offer to sell to Bally's, division of them. And then that's when things started going separate ways. I recommended to the other owners that we shouldn't sell. We should do our own thing. They thought this is a lot of money. We want it right now. We sold. I worked with them for about 2.5 years and really started finding the divergence between money and love. I loved what I was doing. Before, I was making way more money during time with Bally's, but I hated every day. The experience wasn't what I wanted to deliver to the team members and members. So I decided to design what became the baby version of the clubs that you guys are used to. And what the Egan Club is, Woodbury Club is. And then I decided to leave to start my own business and took a journey with it. It took 2-3 years of challenges trying to get the company started. But eventually never gave up, kept trying, started a little club so I could actually build Egan type of club a couple of years later. And the rest of the history, here we are.
Wow. Well, one question too is, what led to the vision of really having a different focus than what the industry was, used to at the time? How did that come about?
Yeah, that was a simple strategy that we are still deploying today, every day, as you know, Jason, is basically, I had worked out since I was 14 years old. So I knew what I want when I go to a club. I knew what I want to be done in terms of the membership structure, how I wanted to be treated as a customer, and I wanted to be my experiences to be as a customer. And I knew that the club industry at the time just wasn't delivering that. It was what was right for the health club owners, not what was right for the customer. So I went to my design cave and I drew up a club as I would envision as a place that I wanted to experience everything. And so instead of the club that would have been 25,000 square feet, what I designed was about 70,000 square feet, which made everybody think I was just totally crazy. But, as you know, we're focused on the experiences, is making sure the customer and the team member feels like everything is designed for them. And as long as you don't forget that, you have your guiding light. Yep. That's your guiding light. You need to focus on your customer and on your team member.
Wow. And, I don't know if you know this, but one of the things, I grew up a stone's throw from Bally's headquarters when I grew up in Chicago. And my first experience with Bally's was actually when I was 16 years old. I was looking for a job, and they came in and they're like, oh, you should be a trainer. And I'm like, I'm 16 years old. And he's like, yeah, just take this test. And I honestly wanted nothing to do with health clubs until finally I saw in 2001, what LifeTime had. And I was just like, okay, I got to start. But I had to throw that in there too, not to bash anything, but it's the same kind of thing. So, obviously we're here for, healthy way of life is the tagline, and we're a different company due to focusing a lot on, many other things that we'll get into, but, couples and families and all of those things. And, one of the things I've repeatedly heard for, thankfully working for the company for 18 years was you say, think big, start small, and move fast. And it's been something that is, embedded in everybody. And I would love for you to talk about how you applied that concept to LifeTime from the beginning and to where we are now.
Well, so actually the LifeTime story is how I came up with the think big, start small, move fast. So when I left, Bally's after we had sold in May of 1989, I had envisioned building the club like Egan Woodbury, but then quickly Ifonda and Kerry Sutherland and Abdi and Mark Zabes, everybody else said, okay, if you leave, we're coming. So it went from, okay, I'm going to build one club that is the right idea. I want to build 6 of them so I can bring everybody along with. So when I went to the investors and I suggested that, of course, they loved the big, bold idea. And so it sucked me into idea of building 6 of those clubs per year from the get-go. And so that was such a big undertaking. It was thinking big and starting big. And for one reason or another, it just never worked out. A year went by, 2 years went by. I spent $40,000, $50,000 a month in travel and secretary, assistant, negotiating deals. And it would just keep blowing up because I was trying to start all of those at the same time. And so eventually, after 2 years had gone by, I realized I've spent all the money I had made trying to get these things going. Nothing had been going, and that I needed to really get something going. And I settled for not one of the clubs I designed, I settled for a small little club that was bankrupt and vandalized, sitting empty when it was 27,000 square feet. It was exactly what I was running away from. But I decided I need to start something, make it work, and then build, the next club a little bigger, the next club, and finally get to what I wanted to. So it was the moment in time I changed the strategy. I didn't change what I wanted to build, still thinking really, really big, but I started really, really small, and then I moved lightning fast. I built that first club, focused on the goals, to hit what I needed to hit so I can get the money to start the second club and so on. So that's when I came up with this concept of think big, start small, and move fast. So that's how it goes.
And it, your ability, and as always, to get it through the organization has been fantastic. So, now speeding ahead, before we get into all the things that are going to be happening soon is, obviously we're dealing with a pandemic, and COVID just absolutely has dealt with, all kinds of different things. And, I know that we're finally navigating successfully through that storm. And I can't imagine all the work that you and the executive team and all of us have been doing. I'd love for you to share, why do you feel we've kind of reached that point, and, how did we get through this thing?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So there is a number of things. When we started this company, I wanted to create an organization that had the ability to last through anything. So unlike many other operators, we maintained several $1 billion worth of real estate that we still owned, rather than just everything being leased. We also had invested heavily, as you know, about $100+ million a year in maintenance capex to constantly re-upping and reprogramming and reinventing our spaces. So there was lots of money invested already in the company, in capital. We had focused for the last 9 years, as you know, Jason, on the brand, to invest in the brand, to make sure the team members love the company and the members love the company and they love the brand. So all of those things were the foundations. But then it goes beyond something else, which I was concerned about 28 years ago when we started the first club. I used to teach a fitness seminar and a nutrition seminar every Monday and Wednesday. And I remember bringing some, super brilliant friends. One of them, God bless his soul, Dr. Chris Hayward, just flat out genius in biochemistry, exercise physiology, etc. And we talked about the benefit of exercise, what type of exercise, what would elongate your life, what would shorten your life, what was the point of doing all the stuff that you do. Meanwhile, we talked about genetic engineering, we talked about DNA, we talked about all kinds of stuff. And I still believe that someday, either genetically or through substances, most of us will be lean and buffed without having to work out. So I really believe that day competition exists still. You can all take the same pill, but then we want to compete. Athletics is going to exist. The healthy way of life experiences, the living, healthy living, healthy aging will exist. But just the flat out fitness, just the fitness piece was much more vulnerable, in my opinion. So we invested at LifeTime building 50, 60, 70, $100 million assets that, arguably the most profitable piece would be the fitness floor, right? But then when the fitness gets hit, that part isn't the only part that makes it. So LifeTime, half of our customers come to LifeTime today for the experiences they get, and fitness piece is secondary. They come for the fitness part as well as the other things. It's not just fitness alone. So LifeTime today is in the best possible position to go through the COVID or any other thing like it. And as you know, our traffic is above and beyond everybody else. Our NPS was the highest in December it's ever been. So customers love their experience. And I think that defensive mindset I had 25 years ago is proving to pay off. We also, like I said, we own $3 billion worth of real estate. So we were able to just refinance $2.2 billion. And we're fully financed. We have lots of liquidity. And I am focusing on total experiences for LifeTime right now. I had multiple meetings today. We are working on the next revolution for LifeTime, which is brand strategy, healthy living, healthy aging, LifeTime, healthy way of life experiences in live, work, play, and stay, providing entertainment, providing content, and doing it all both digitally and physically. We are in a league of our own. We have nobody else worldwide who could do what we can do. Whereas, we're ready to launch our 3.0 app, which I would say is the first version I call the acceptable. The first two, 1 and 2, was like Brooklyn Park. Really, that's what it was. From 1 and 2 would be Brooklyn Park. It was just getting going. It wasn't the machine we wanted. It was just a machine. So that we can get to the 3.0. Again, it's a think big, start small, move fast. But starting beginning of next month, 1,000 classes are streamed a week. We're going to be like everything else we do, Jason, the best at whatever we do. Everything we've done, as you know, we focus on being the best employer, the best alpha, the best strike, the best environment, the best pool, beach clubs. We're also going to be the best provider of healthy way of life digitally, and providing the best content. And so we're moving extremely fast because we need to, but we've also have improved the company digitally the last 10 months as much as 10 years.
Yeah. Well, and for those that may not know, when you mentioned Brooklyn Park was the first strip mall facility that Bahram talked about earlier that, he opened. And then obviously it's come to the 120 plus thousand, size facilities that we have. And, just amazing as we've navigated this, and now we're walking into adding this digital revolution, so people wherever they are, whenever they want, and however they want to receive it. But one thing too, before we dive into a lot of that, is you mentioned live, work, play, and stay, and some people might not know what that is. Would you dive into what those are just briefly, so that people understand how we're truly being this healthy way of life ecosystem?
Perfect. So right now we have 2 lifetime living projects that are within 3 to 4 or 5 months of opening. One in Henderson, Las Vegas, one in Coral Gables, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is fully executed and managed. I would call it a condominium rental rather than apartment. They're high-end, super over-the-top experiences, connected living between the club experience, the beach club experience, the programming, and your apartments. So all is one. And then when we have lifetime work, like in Coral Gables, there's also 25,000 square feet of lifetime work. So now imagine today with lifetime stay, which is really the finished, furnished apartments, furnished by Lifetime, art decor, art style delivery, completely first class, where you would be able to, Jason, to rent one of these apartments in Las Vegas or in Coral Gables, later in Chicago, in different parts of the country. You can rent one of those for a month at a time. As long as you're a Lifetime member, you can rent those for a month at a time. And then you be able to work out of the Lifetime work completely professionally. So your background when you have a meeting on a WebEx or Zoom is completely professional. You can entertain if you want to bring somebody to meet with you, you're a consultant, and you work in Chicago, but now you want to spend a month in Coral Gables and still be able to do the same work and do it completely professionally. Lifetime today is the only company that could bring in the entire ecosystem of live, work, play, which is the club piece, the beach club, the athletics resort, and then stay, which is this sort of a short-term, I would say month-to-month, fully furnished experience, and all connected, seamless. One transaction gets you to do the whole thing.
Well, so you talked about also now this Lifetime Digital and offering more than 1,000 live streaming classes soon. Can you describe how that transpired, and how we really feel we're going to be the best healthy way of life media, content, and experiences company?
Yeah. So first, not to forget, Lifetime generated over 31 billion impressions last year with our hands tied behind our back. Our clubs were shut down or restricted in one way, shape, or another most of the year. So this year, we probably will generate 40 to 50 billion impressions with an incredible customer satisfaction. So taking that brand, we have, basically 5, 6, 7,000 most amazing training team and group fitness performers. We have 750 studios across the country. So we have the ability to deliver the best content better than anybody else in the world. It's our right to play in that and give the best that we have to everybody around the world who has access to us now digitally, which is about 100 times the number of people who would have access to us just physically.
That's
And
amazing.
so that's amazing. Lifetime content is not duplicable. So we have spent about 10, 15 million a year on the Lifetime magazine, Experience Life, right? And we have 20 plus years worth of uncompromised content because we didn't take money from advertising from people. We didn't believe in their product. We didn't sell our soul. So the content we have for detox, for weight loss, for training, inside of that, in addition to all of our trainer, is proprietary, it's curated. It's not just searching for detox on Google to get anything that pops up. This is the stuff that is right, or other people know they're right. We've only giving people the curated information. And you can go to Lifetime Source, you can click on detox, you can click on zinc, you can click on magnesium, and you get the best content. You and the rest of the team have been involved in developing the videos. So we have the ability to stand up and deliver an unmatched experience in digital world as well. The platform that we have, it's exactly Brooklyn Park. Brooklyn Park, it wasn't a club I designed. I was running away from that. That was a 25, 26, 27,000 square feet club in an elbow of a shopping center. It was the antithesis of what I wanted to create with my vision of Egan or Woodbury. But I decided to go in there, fix it, execute the things that I could execute inside that space. And then the next version was Egan. Now that took, I opened Brooklyn Park 92, but then we opened July of 92, and 26 months later, September of 1994, we were able to open Egan. We launched our first version December. We launched the second version, in November. The second version in December. The third version is coming end of November. So the Brooklyn Park was completely an unacceptable product. It was just to get launched and then open Egan, and eventually, we shut that club down in Brooklyn Park and moved 86, 87% of our members to all these new clubs we had built in Plymouth and in Coon Rapids and in Champlain and in Moore Lake, etc. So same thing with the Lifetime platform. If you don't like something on the platform today, you need to give us 2 weeks and we eliminate what you don't like. And the entire company, all 25,000, 30,000 people who are engaged right now and soon to be back to the 40,000, all of our team members, all are working not on physical, not on digital, on physical digital, the Omni-Channel. So what I've been working here with the team for the last month is to take all of our mighty engines, all of our horsepower, and turn the rudder a little bit and make it become an Omni-Channel execution rather than a channel of physical or digital. And that by itself makes us unstoppable.
Man. And the next iteration, I believe, is going to be launching any day now, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be end of the month. And I know that the team will deliver. Again, look, I have no issue with having short-term, really short-term errors or glitches, as long as we recognize a problem and we fix it immediately. And our customer and our team members and our members our subscribers all need to recognize, again, if they don't like something, they tell us, we'll fix it.
Like, unlike any other CEO that I know, is that your attention to the details and the focus of the core of the business and the roots of the business, and even teaching classes, and the way that you work out. And it's just not something that I've seen, and I think a lot of people have seen, which is what I love about how close you stay to the fitness side of it, and managing this huge business that you got, and then also going in and teaching a cycle class on New Year's Day live. So I can't thank you enough for that. And I think that leads into the history of what's good, or I should say the future of what's happening with training, because a lot of our listeners are trainers that are either with us or hopefully soon to be with us. So would you talk about one, why you're so close to personal training and how critical that is to our ecosystem first, and then we could talk about where we're going in the future.
That's a great question, Jason. First of all, I love what we do, which is staying physically active, mentally sharp, and being able to coach, help, provide the environment to do that for anybody else. If in life, if you're able to help somebody else, you feel better. And so for me, one of the things that it's always talked about, is, hey, this is a surprise, you do this or you do that. The reality is I'm no different than you. I'm no different than the trainer we just hired for the first time at LifeTime. I'm no different than the person who serving our members at the front desk of one of our clubs. I am just one of you. I am not above you. I'm not better than you. I'm not more special than you. I am just one of you. And so
Wonderful.
If we can stay focused on thinking of each other as that and have everybody be equally as important, then the answers are simple. It's not complicated. So in order for me to connect with my consumer, with my team, is I have to be one of you. I can't be some ivory tower guy. So my happiest time, my most gratifying moments is when I'm mingling in the club, when I'm teaching a class, when I'm doing a workout with some of our trainers or some of our customers. I don't feel like I'm the CEO of the company when I'm teaching a class. I'm just teaching a class.
That's amazing. And to expand that just a little bit, in some of the things that I've seen over the years of, you making sure that even some of the highest level executive go back into the club and experience being a GM, training managers, experiencing being a trainer, and, it goes from the top down. And, I think it speaks volumes of where, on how we understand what's happening and where we're going into the future.
Again, it's all about culture, and it's all about being connected, remain connected. I fear of the day that I am detached and not in the loop, and I think I should still be the CEO of the company. I hope that day never comes. I think the right order of business is, as long as you're in this role, you recognize the responsibility that you have to everybody that you're leading or everybody you're touching. It's not a privilege, it's a responsibility, and I feel completely natural to it. I don't think I have to exercise some sort of a meditation to do that. It's just who I am.
Yeah. So, a couple more questions, and, with regard to personal training, and, I've heard you speak at, conferences and talk about, being able to adapt, obviously, but, what do you think the future of personal training at LifeTime and really in the industry is going to be?
Yeah, I think that's a loaded question, Jason. I do believe that we are absolutely in the middle of a storm. We are in the middle of a storm. We're not at a state of calm. So the way I give people the analogy on this is, think of an ocean, super calm, but there's a high tide, and then there's a low tide. And when there's a low tide and you see tide is going low, it's planned. You know exactly what hour is the low tide. You know when it's the high tide, and it's all kind of a smoothly going up or down. And that makes it very, very easy to navigate, plan. Today, we're incredibly in the middle of wildest storm we've ever been in. And a lot of things are not functioning the way they were functioning before. And there is restrictions and there is fear. Things I want to do, but I can't do. Things I want to do, but I don't want to do. I have a sick child. I have an old parent. I don't want to go engage. I mean, all of these things are real. For some people are like, I don't believe in it. For them, they don't believe in it. And they're right. For some people are strongly believe in it. And for them, that's right. Mm-hmm. So, but we are in the middle of this storm and trying to navigate what the future will look like, looking at the water splashing up and down 30, 40, 50 feet. It's probably nothing short of madness. So when we get past this, there's going to be a certain number of customers who are going to want to continue to do their workout at home. There's going to be a certain number of customers who are going to want to do no workout at home. There's going to be certain customers who are going to do some of their workout from home or travel and some of it from the clubs that they go to. It's going to be all of those. What are the percentages? I don't think anybody can tell. Yeah. What I do know is that I have complained about the qualification of personal trainers, as you know. You and I have had this conversation a lot. Qualification of personal trainers for many, many, many years. I believe that training has to become more of a science and art. It has to be performance. It has to be touching the customer in a way that value add over what you can do. You can do amazing programming digitally. Mm-hmm. But then you have to make the live experience that much better. Yep. So all of us as trainers, we have to reinvent ourselves. We need to make sure we're the best version of ourselves when we're delivering something digitally, and we're the best version of ourselves when we deliver something physically in person. And so that is what everybody needs to be thinking about. How much you can really anticipate the calm, what it's going to look like after summer or fall. I don't know that anybody is smart enough, and if they know it for sure, they're certainly smarter than I am. Yeah. So I think we just need to kind of navigate that as we get there.
Yeah. And, I think the big thing and takeaway there is, adaptability, making sure that you're playing in both the virtual and the live. And at the end of the day, that's what I always say about LifeTime is, even through a pandemic, we still didn't run out of people that you could train and influence and be with. And that's just one of many beauties of working for the company. So, I got a couple more, and, this one is huge, for me. It's, obviously you've gone from, working out each day, in the middle of the day. I remember working out with you at Eden Prairie to, doing the crazy, 100-mile mountain bikes at Leadville, and, talk to everybody about, how you go about those things and how you're able to have time and do all that stuff, and just how it's so close to you. It's just inspiring, man.
Yeah. So look, one of the things that I talk about a lot is about knowing yourself, knowing not only what you're good at, knowing what you're really bad at. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm really, really bad at. And so what I don't like to do is same thing over and over and over. So I need to reinvent myself, my routine. And I need to have big objectives and big goals. So establishing a commitment to doing Leadville forces me into a discipline of training 15 hours a week on my bike that I normally would not have if I don't have that. Meanwhile, I like to mix it up. I like to do that. I like to kite surf. I like to ski. I like to play tennis. I like to work out. I got to teach an ultimate or ultra workout. I mean, I just like to mix it up. So I have figured out what works for me. And I don't recommend people to do what I do. I recommend for them to figure out what works for them and figure out how they can be passionate and excited to be engaged. Yeah. And the way they can do that for them is the right way.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I've talked about it several times on the podcasts and is being interviewed is, what's the best workout? Strength training. The best workout's the one that you're going to do consistently over and over and over again. And whether that is something that disagrees to somebody else's views, so be it. But they're doing it. If they're not going to do your workout, it doesn't mean anything. So I can't thank you enough for, inspiring everybody, for the vision that you have, and, just most specifically for taking the time. I've been so excited about, trying to get you on this show. And I'd love for you to offer, any other final insights that you have to the listeners, that are out there.
Yeah, a couple of things. From what we talked about to close the loop is Omni-Channel. LifeTime is going to deliver the world's best Omni-Channel platform. So if you're a trainer, you're a performer, and you want to have digital audience and physical audience, you want to have the live show and you want to have the studio presence, that is what we're committed to deliver. You, me, and the rest of the executive team at LifeTime to give that opportunity to everyone. Omni-Channel, the best Omni-Channel. The second thing is you just brought up is the why. I like to get on another podcast with you and maybe Paul Krigler, why, not just the what. I think the most important thing in exercise is the why, not the what. Mm-hmm. We need to go back and teach people and educate people. Why do you do HIIT training? Why do you do long distance, low intensity training? Yep. Why do you do sprints? What do you do, heavy lifting? Why do you do alpha training? Why do you do GTX training? So basically the why is the most important piece. And too many times people start with the what or the how. The what and the how is important, but for sure, after you've thought through the why first. Yep. And if we can educate people in that way, if we can make people understand the why, then everything is happening for the right purpose. And that's my kind of a 2 cents that you asked for. Absolutely. Is what we should focus on.
Well, again, I want to thank you. My family wants to thank you. I mean, I haven't loved my job more than I have in a long, long time. And it's to you. So thank you so much for being on the show. And hopefully the listeners out there are listening and continue to listen. And, Bahram also has, BahramAkradi.com, where he has some inspirational things that go on that you can hear directly from him that are just phenomenal. So again, thank you so much for everything. And, I can't wait to see you in person again soon.
Well, let me give a bit of motivation to everyone. 2020 may have looked as a really, really tough year. For LifeTime, for our culture, for our community, 2021 will be as exhilarating as 2020 was tough. However, in 2022, you're going to look back and we all are going to say unequivocally that the most amazing year for LifeTime was 2020, because it's the year that we moved 10 years forward in 10 months. It's the year that we demonstrated the resilience, the toughness, the commitment to doing the right thing, the passion, the stamina, and all of those things that has made us prevail. And like I said at the beginning of the pandemic, making sure the ship sails to the other side and get the opportunity for everybody to be back on it, right? And we're there. We're there now. I can see it clearly. It's a matter of there may be a couple more months of bumpiness here or there. It isn't going to rattle LifeTime at all. And I think when you look back in 2020 will be known as our best year. I hope it is for all of you.
Thank you so much. And, please make sure you connect us and get involved in these experiences, and you will not regret it. So thank you so much, Mr. Bahram Akradi. I really appreciate everything.
Thank you, Jason. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care.